Okay, so here we are live once again. We've got another Master Universe Origins unboxing, and this is from the Turtles of Grayskull line, and it's Casey Jones, the one-man weapons rack. Now, as we all know, John Luther Casey Jones, born March 14th, 1863, died April 30th, 1900, was an American railroader who was killed when his passenger train collided with a stalled freight train in Vaughan, Mississippi. Now, Jones was a locomotive engineer for the Illinois Central Railroad based in Memphis, Tennessee, and Jackson, Mississippi. He was noted. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, this is a different Casey Jones. This is not the railroader Casey Jones. Okay. This is the Ninja Turtles character. That makes a lot more sense because it's Turtles of Grayskull. Okay. All right. But I do suspect that this Casey Jones was named after the railroader Casey Jones, accidentally. Because what I suspect happened is because this is a guy who uses baseball bats for weapons. I suspect they named him Casey Jones as a reference to the poem Casey at Bat, and they confused him with the railroader Casey Jones, and that's how the character got the name Casey Jones. That's what I suspect happened. I've never heard either Kevin Eastman or Peter Laird speak to such a thing, but it's a theory that happens to fit the facts. And I suspect that's what happened. So yeah, this is Casey Jones, the friend and ally of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And as we can see, since this is a Turtles of Grayskull figure, he's got some of the Masters of the Universe aesthetic built into the figure. So he's got like a kind of turtle shell pauldron, kind of like how he had that hockey pad pauldron in the original Casey Jones figure. And the coloring of this is very similar to that original Casey Jones figure, where he has kind of like a kind of like a teal turquoise sort of shirt and some gray pants, and then his boots we can see are kind of a seafoam green with some white detailing, kind of like how the original figure had kind of a teal sort of turquoise hoodie with gray sweatpants, and then the seafoam green Chuck Taylors. So yeah, he's like very similar to the coloration of that figure. And he's got a hockey mask of a sort. It looks like it's kind of combined with Ram Man's helmet a little bit. It's got like a gladiatorial sort of look to it. I think it's really cool looking, but I don't think it really captures the flavor of the character the way they were intending. Now, that having been said, I have seen on Cults 3D, one of the guys that I buy parts from a lot of the times, uh, was it RBL 3D, I think is his name. He has a set of Casey Jones heads that are a little more comic accurate. So I'm probably going to wind up buying those and printing them out. And he's got some more traditional Casey Jones type weapons. Of course, these aren't really intended to be traditional Casey Jones type weapons because, as you read in the comic book, Casey ran across the weapons rack in Castle Grayskull and decided to help himself. And they reference that with him being a one-man weapons rack. And here on the back we have a really nice picture of Casey Jones fighting Mouse Jaw, or whatever the hell he was called, the combination of Trap Jaw and the Mousers, and a lot of Mousers also around him, and the Sorceress. He's protecting the Sorceress, and you can see he's got some of those Grayskull weapons on him. He does have a hockey stick, which is one of Casey's traditional weapons, but it's got all kinds of spikes and stuff on it, and it looks a little more a little like he adapted it for Eternia, if that makes any sense. So it says on the back here, back on Earth, Casey Jones fights baddies as a hockey masked vigilante, using whatever sports gear he can fit into his bag. Now that he's on Eternia, he loads up on Castle Grayskull's best battle equipment to join the fight against Krang and Skeletor. All right, so let's go ahead and open this guy up. And Casey's always been one of the mainstay characters in Ninja Turtles. Of course, he was in the animated series, but I don't think they used him to his full potential in the animated series. Not like they did in the comic books and the later feature film. He was a major character in the first feature film where he was played by Elias Coates, I believe is the Coates. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's a good actor. I should know how to pronounce his last name. We got the comic book. It's a comic book we've already read, so we won't be reading it this time. But I believe that this comic book came when I opened up Tila. Yeah, it's from Tila. And it's the same comic book that came with Skeletor, which was the last of these figures that I opened. So let's go ahead and get Casey out of the package. And he does come with a lot of weapons that we've seen before, which makes sense because, you know, like I said, he's picking the Castle Grayskull weapon rack clean. So it would be some weapons we've seen before. So we've got, first of all, this spear, which most recently we've seen the spear come with King Randor. And this was one of the weapons that came with the original Castle Grayskull weapons rack way back in 1982. That was one of the weapons, but it was colored in the bone white color. I actually have, this is not the original, but this is one that I 3D printed. So it's about as close to the original as I could get. But that's what they look. You can see the spearheads are a little different. This is one that somebody designed. It's not one that like is an exact reproduction, but it's probably about as close as you can get without getting sued. But this, it gives you an idea. This is what it was colored like. I was actually able to find a filament color that matched the original weapons rack weapons pretty well. But this is in kind of like an orangish gold kind of color. It's a really good color. I like that. So I'm gonna set that aside for now. And then we also have a katana, which this is the same katana we've seen before many times. Ninjor, Jitsu, Space Sumo, all of them come with this katana. And we got an extra one that comes with Casey. I've never known Casey to use any kind of actual ninja weapons. And God knows, with him being friends with the boys, they could probably score him some if he really wanted some. But no, he's just he's usually just content to bash the scumbags with a baseball bat or a hockey stick, or even a cricket bat. You got to know what a crumpet is to know cricket. Hey, Max Games and Toys is here. He says, Alan, friend, what's up? Oh, not much. What's up with you? I've been admiring your Masterverse Conan the Barbarian. That one's turning out really cool. Like I think that one looks really nice. I've been working on my own Masterverse Conan and a couple of Origins Conan figures, but I'm not ready to show them off just yet. One of them is going to be based on, at least kind of loosely based on, the old Remco King Conan figure, Conan the King. So that one's mostly done. I just got to make it a cape. And yeah, the original Remco King Conan didn't come with a cape, but he should have. All right. So here we've got the golf bag, and we got one more rubber tab to cut around his ankle. And then we can have a look at the rest of these accessories. Come on. Oh, it's in such an annoying spot. Max Games Toys says, more accessories than all the first Origins wave. Yeah, probably. I think it's more accessories than the original Casey Jones figure came with. But there he is out of the package. And we can see one more accessory that's on him. This is the removable hockey mask. And underneath, dude looks a lot like Chris Evans. I don't know if that was on purpose, but Chris Evans did provide the voice of Casey Jones in the animated TMNT feature film from a few years back. Put the mask back on him for now. Set that aside. Let's have a look at these accessories. So we've already seen the samurai sword. We've already seen the spear. I don't know if I talked a lot about the hockey stick itself, but like I said, you know, it wouldn't be Casey Jones if he didn't come with a hockey stick. And this is a pretty nasty looking hockey stick. He's got all these spikes taped to it. So it's going to do a lot more damage than this hockey stick usually does. And we can see that it's molded in this kind of translucent bluish green color. This is very similar to the color that the original Playmates Casey Jones figure would have had way back in the day. Only it's a slightly translucent plastic, whereas that one was definitely opaque. So we still have more accessories to go over here. And I did buy an extra one of these, so I do have two Casey Jones figures. So not only do I have doubles of his wealth of accessories, but I also have extra parts to use for some customs that I wanted to do. And all of these parts, I think, should be familiar to to fans of the original Masters Universe line and other spin-off lines. We'll talk about that in a minute. But these two are the unique accessories for him. The other one is this battle axe. It is an original design of a battle axe, although it does look very similar to many battle axes that we've seen in this line before. At first, I was almost thinking, yeah, I did see your Conan Masterverse custom. I was just bragging about that, actually. I was just talking you up. Yeah, for anybody who hasn't seen it, go check it out. I think he's got some pics up on YouTube here. I know I'd seen them on Facebook, but yeah, definitely check those out on Max's own channel. Definitely worth checking out. And soon I'll have mine up when I'm ready to show it off. But I got my own Conan I'm working on for Masterverse and the two Origins Conans. So, but yeah, you can fit these both together. And at first glance, I was thinking that this would be the same axe that came with Ram Man, the same double blade axe that his comes with, but it's actually not. It actually is a different one, and it plugs in to the hockey stick pretty well. So that's how that works. I kind of wonder, do I have it over here? I guess I probably put it over on the other side, but the mace that came with the Turtles of Grayskull Man at Arms, I'm kind of wondering if those will fit together too. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, so that makes it a spiked hockey stick and a double bladed axe. This is a nasty weapon right here. So we're gonna set that aside. And then anybody who's been collecting Masters of the WWE universe will recognize these pieces. So this is the Jitsu glove that came with the Masters of the WWE Universe, Mr. T. Only now it's molded in that same orangish gold plastic that the spear and the hockey bag are molded, or the golf bag. It's not the same exact plastic because this is a bit more rigid and this is a bit more pliable, since it is it is a piece that fits over the character's hand. So they're all three different kinds of plastics. This one's more of a nylon, this one's more of a styrene, and this one's more of a PVC, I think. So they're all three different. And lastly, we have this massive sledgehammer, and this originally came with the Masters of the WWE Universe version of Triple H. So now, unfortunately, with Triple H, the handle was like way too thick, and the character couldn't actually hold it very well. But it seems like, yep, with Casey, they've kind of remolded his version of it, kind of adjusted it, so now he actually can hold it in his hand, and it's a long enough handle that you can get it into a two-handed grip if you want to. So apparently, not only are there weapons from various characters on Eternia, but apparently they actually had a crossover with WWE Eternia, and some of the WWE superstars equipment is showing up here on Eternia. So I guess they had an actual crossover at some point that we're just not privy to. So anyway, go ahead and take that and set that aside. And now let's go ahead and talk about the articulation, and then we'll go ahead and gear this guy up. And there is a lot of gear, so we're gonna do the best we can. So Casey can look up about that far, which is pretty good considering this long hair that he has. He can look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around at the shoulders and move up about that far. And when you move this arm around, it is going to kind of bump into that pauldron a little bit, so you got to kind of shift it out of the way somewhat. But I really like this particular piece of armor. It's got like lots of pouches and nice details and things like that on there. It's got the turtle shell pauldron, because all the good guys got to have like some kind of turtle shell detailing to kind of show their allegiance, I guess. Even the Masters characters have their own turtle shell detailing on them. Max says, I missed the Triple H Motu figure. It is amazing. Yeah, there was actually two of them, because one of them came with the Grayskull ring. and that was the one where he was wearing. He had the terror claws for that one. That was his accessories for those, and he was wearing black trunks. And then the single carded figure has purple tights. So and that was the one that came with the barbarian armor, like his ring entrance armor with like the skull crown and everything like that, and the cape. And that was the one that actually came with the sledgehammer. So what I wound up doing was I took all of the barbarian ring entrance attire and I put them on to the Grayskull ring Triple H with the trunks, and he had the Iron Cross on the trunks also. So the whole thing I think came together a lot better. So that's my perfect Masters of the WWE Universe version of Triple H. Anyway, getting back to this. So he's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow, straightens out about that far, bends in about that far, rotates all the way around. Of course, the wrist rotates all the way around and has a horizontal hinge that moves back and forth. Both of these wrists do this. And he does have a gripping hand on the right hand and an open hand on the left hand in that traditional 80s Masters of the Universe style. If Mattel had bought the rights to Ninja Turtles and decided to fold them into Masters of the Universe in the 80s, and that might have happened because they did try to sell Ninja Turtles to Mattel, and Mattel wasn't biting. But if they had have, that's probably what Casey would have looked like. So, so anyway, he can rotate all the way around at the waist, and of course, since this is Masters Universe Origins, he comes apart at the waist, and you can pull the arms off, and you can pull the head off, and allegedly you should be able to pull off the boots, but I find it's easiest to do that when you've applied some heat to it with a hair dryer. But he can't; those should come off technically. He's got black furry trunks. He's got gray leggings, and like I said, that's kind of an homage to the gray sweatpants that the original figure had. The coloring, like I said, very similar. They were paying a lot of attention to that original Playmates figure when they colored this guy. So Casey Jones can kick up about that far. He's got a single joint of articulation at the knee that moves about like that, rotates all the way around. Boot cut rotates all the way around, and his foot points. It's kind of stiff, but yeah, there we go. Points down about that far, points up about that far, and rotates all the way around. And you can see what I was talking about, where like the original figure had those kind of Chuck Taylor, Converse All Star kind of sneakers, and they were colored in that sea green color with the white detailing, like a Converse has. And here they gave him like all white feet and some white straps on the sea green boot tops. So that way it kind of pays homage to that color scheme while still maintaining that Masters of the Universe aesthetic. All right, so let's go ahead and have a look at his accessories. Let's start with the golf bag. And you can see there are two pegs on here that the golf bag can fit right into his back on the two holes here. And I believe that this should be also where you can fit the turtle shell on here. So you could put a turtle shell onto his back if you wanted to. But wouldn't you rather have the golf bag? And by the way, the golf bag does have a handle on it. So he can carry it like it was an actual golf bag. But it doesn't have the straps like the original golf bag had, since the strap is actually incorporated into his armor. So it's all one piece. And they made it the same color as the rest of his armor, whereas on the original figure, it was that same kind of bluish green color I was talking about before. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and just put all of his accessories into the golf bag so we can see what all that looks like. And the ninja sword. And there's one clamp here on the side. Let's go ahead and put the hockey stick on there, because I kind of feel like him being Casey Jones, the hockey stick is always going to be his main weapon. Doesn't come with a baseball bat, which is also, I consider, one of his main weapons. I'm going to have this. It would probably make more sense to have the spear tip down, I guess, but I'm going to have it facing tip up. I don't know. Maybe you want to break the tip of the spear. I don't know. And then last but not least, the sledgehammer. So you can see all of his weapons do fit nicely into the golf bag. But I want to get him ready for our thumbnail pick. So I'm gonna put the golf bag, the I don't know what I'm saying. I'm gonna put the hockey stick into his hand, and there we go. That's him all geared up. And I do wish, honestly, in hindsight, that they had given him a second gripping hand, because then he could be dual wielding weapons, and that would be cool. And like I said, you can take off the mask, and I put a little too much effort into that, and it made his stick fall off. So you can have him without the mask if you want to. So, and I do think, like I said, I think that that's a pretty good unmasked Casey Jones head. It does look a lot like Chris Evans, which is funny because Chris Evans did play him in the animated movie. I don't know if that was intentional or not, or if it just happened to wind up looking kind of like Chris Evans. But yeah, overall a pretty good figure, and I think a pretty decent representation of Casey as he might look if he went to Eternia and geared up with some of that Masters Universe gear. Oh, I forgot to point out, he also does have a little piece of Man-at-Arms armor on his right shin. So yeah, so there's a little bit of Man-at-Arms in there too. So that's nice. Yeah, other than that, he doesn't look like he's any specific Masters Universe character. Like I said, the helmet kind of vaguely looks like Ram Man, especially if you look at the bonus extra Ram Man head that came with the deluxe figure from a while back. He does look kind of like that Ram Man with the faceplate. But this will be a good piece to use on custom figures. Like if you just want to make some like gladiator looking characters or something, I think that would be really good for them. Anyway, Max says, looks good to me. Kind of man, kind of TMNT Man-at-Arms. Love all the accessories. Yeah, like that's definitely a big part of the appeal with this character. If you want a character that's just got a ton of accessories, like this guy is it. He's got so much stuff, and probably worth picking up just for that. But yeah, I definitely picked up an extra one of these because I had some ideas for some custom things to do, and hopefully we'll see those soon. I do get a tendency like to do a bunch of custom things at one time, and then like it takes me a while to get them finished because I've got so many irons on the fire. And like I said, when we were talking about Conan, I have not one but two different Origins Conan figures that I'm working on right now, and one of them is almost done. I just have to make a cape for him. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure you like and subscribe and all this fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this Casey Jones figure and the character in general. And I'm probably going to wind up, like I said, making him a 3D print head with the more accurate comic book mask. Not that I think this is a bad head sculpt at all, but I would like to have one that looks a little bit more like the comic book, since I was a big fan of the comic book. Well, I am a big fan of the comic book. Yeah, I'm one of those that's so old school when it comes to Ninja Turtles that I actually first encountered the characters as a black and white comic book when I was in middle school. And this was before the cartoon had come out. I'm old. Like to the point where like I actually saw they were making the cartoon, and I'm like, how are they gonna make a cartoon of that? That comic is violent as hell. But they toned down the violence a lot. Honestly, I thought the best thing they did with the Ninja Turtles on the cartoon was giving them the individually colored bandanas, because that made it a little bit easier to tell them apart. And I think it expressed their personality a bit better. It's like, of course, Raphael is going to keep the red because he's the most vicious of all of them. Leonardo's got the blue because he's cool and calm and collected, and then I guess Michelangelo and Donatello kind of got their colors default. But again, blue is a more logical color. Purple is a cool color. More one you more kind of associate with calm and logic and things that Donatello would espouse. And orange is a bit more of a warm, fun color. So I guess that makes sense for the one who does machines and the one who's a party dude, respectively. But yeah, I will definitely have those Conan figures. I'll have them both here and on Facebook once I get them finished. But they'll be done soon enough. Like really, the Masterverse Conan, I mainly have to print him out a sword because I want him to have a good sword. And likewise, the Origins figure, I need a good sword for him. And like I said, I want the King Conan to have a cape. I've already got like the big ass Remco sword that I printed out for that one. So that should be really cool when I get that up. But trust me, it's gonna be up. It's gonna be up eventually. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I'll be back next time with maybe Hordak, maybe Two Bop Steady. I haven't decided yet. It'll be one of those, or maybe one of the other Ninja Turtle figures. I know I've got Leatherneck, I've got Two Bop Steady, I've got Hordak, and I have April, Splinter, and all four of the boys. And of course, I'm saving those for last. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.